Welcome to the Painted Toad. I'm going to be showing you how to paint a sailboat at sunset. Hey, it's Rose from the Painted Toad. Let's take a break and relax and enjoy painting tonight. So if you're joining me, say hi. Tonight we're painting the sailboat. Let's see, the sailboat at sunset or sunset sailboat. I can't remember what I named it. But anyways, there's going to be water involved. It's going to be a sunset. It's going to be a sailboat. So that's what it is. So say hi. Let me know you're here. I'm going to switch the camera down to the Sony view here. So you can already see a silhouette on here. I was kind of tracing this earlier today. And so that's why you can see that silhouette. But I'm going to just go over what we're going to do here. So if you are getting my, here, let me switch this so you can actually see me speaking too. If you sign up for my Paint With Me updates from my webpage, that's www.paintedtoad.com, you can get updates for each Paint With Me. And if you get those updates, I'll send you tracers. So you can see here, I've got the little sailboat tracer. This was just printed on a piece of paper. So basically you sign up and this gets sent to you. I'll show you I cut it out earlier. So you'll get this and you can cut it out or you can use tracing paper. So I already have mine all cut out here. I was going to trace this on here, but first what I'm going to do is we're going to do the background and everything first. So let's get started on that. I'm going to come right across the top here with the yellow. And let me make sure you can see that okay. I'm going to push this up just a tad. Push it over. I'm going to move this over a little bit too. There we go. So I'm going to come across the top here. And okay, now I can see everything. So most of the yellow is going to be up here at the top. Just going to kind of fill this in here. And then I'm going to take some pink while this is still wet and just bring some pink in up here and kind of just go back and forth. Let some of this pink blend in with the yellow so it might turn a little bit orangey, and that's okay. You want that orangey look. Now I may go back over this and add a little bit more pink once it dries a little bit. But for right now, I'm going to rinse that. I want the yellow out of my brush because I'm going to switch to the blue and I don't want the sky to start turning green. I'm not looking for a green sky. So I am rinsing my brush. And I'm going to bring some of this pink down here. So this is all going to be pink down here. Let me just fill this in with pink. And it's not just going to be pink. This is just our first color here. So the clouds in this sky, they kind of come down along the horizon. And we just end up with a really bright, pretty sky with some pink hues behind the clouds peeking through. And then all of this in front ends up turning kind of purple. So my plan here, we're going to see if this works, is I'm going to add some blue on top of this magenta. And we will see if I can get a nice shade of kind of like a periwinkle blue or a deep purple. So I'm going to do this while this is still wet. And I'm going to bring the blue in there and just kind of sweep it back and forth and let it mix in with some of this pink. And I don't have to do everything with the pink, I don't need to cover up all the pink. I can leave some of this pink so that we've got some pink peeking behind here. So maybe like a little bit in here. I'll just kind of drag that way. Maybe I'll have a little bit towards the horizon. So I'm going to keep some of this pink in here. I don't know if you can see that okay. I don't want to turn it all purple. And just kind of, I'm using the edge of my brush and just kind of blending this in. just like that. Now, if I want to make this a little darker, I could potentially use a little more blue. I'm going to try a little more blue. Actually, I'm going to mix the two colors on my palette and see what I can get. So I'm going to take a little pink, a little bit of blue. I'm going to see if I can get another tint, or not tint, what word am I looking for? It's not really a tint, I guess another hue of blue here, or purple, I should say. I'm saying the wrong thing. So that's a little bit darker, I think, because it's got a bit more blue in it. And I'm going to bring that on the top of this just to get some different color mixing in here. And this up here is still a little bit wet, but I think if I'm gentle enough, I could add some of this cloud up here. Just want to be careful because, you know, I'm going to wait because if it starts mixing with the orange and yellow, then it's going to be really annoying. So while that's kind of drying, I'll come back and do more of those dark purpley clouds up there. But I am going to head down here now into the water, and I'm just going to put in a nice thick layer here of the cerulean blue, or cerulean. I'm going to look it up. There we go. And if you're joining me, it's Rose from the Painted Toad, and we are painting, or I am painting. I think I'm the only one painting here, but maybe you're gonna watch it later. So, but I'm painting Sailboat at Sunset. So we're gonna do a really cool sailboat silhouette. Got my background here, just this pretty blue. If you have edges to your canvas, you can always paint the edges. And then I also like to make sure I drag my brush all the way across, otherwise sometimes you end up with little brush strokes that show up that you don't want there. So that looks pretty cool already. I think that's looking pretty cool. How is my drying? It's still damp. You know, it's very humid today, so this is going to take a while to dry. I'm going to come in here and just make this a little bit more purple. I'm using the edge of my flat brush, and I'm just adding some purple up here, purple clouds. You can kind of do, you know, you can take the edge of your brush, kind of feather it in there if you want. They don't have to be super perfect. And kind of bring some of these along in here. Now sometimes I'll do all three of these colors together, but the only issue when you're working with the yellow is that purple mixing in with the yellow. Because if it mixes in, then you're going to start getting weird funky colors. So that's why I wanted to dry it first. And now I'm coming back with some of my purples to make that sky look like a really cool sunset. I'm going to make a little bit more of this dark purple because I'm running low. And sometimes if you don't have enough paint, you'll get this where you can see the canvas, and I don't really like the way that looks. So I want to blend it in a little bit more. There we go. And if you're joining me, it's Rose from the Painted Toad. So say hello, let me know you're here. I'm gonna add some more of this purple down in here. We can get some variation of color. I like this deep purple. It's just the magenta and that blue that I was using. I just think it makes it look really cool. Okay. I think that looks, I think I like it. I think I like the sky. I think I like the way it looks. Touch up a couple more areas here where I'm seeing a little bit of maybe add a little blue in there. Get a lot of variety of color. Ooh. I don't know if you can hear that, but the washer is going. I left my kids up there to do the laundry because most of it's theirs. So, all right, what I'm going to do now is I have this lovely blue down here, and I'd like to show you how to do some palette knife work. So a palette knife, this is a palette knife. It's a metal one. You can also get plastic ones, like here's a flat one. That one would work too. But I want to create, the water texture is a little bit choppy in the picture that I'm looking at. So I want to get kind of that choppy texture. So that's why I'm going to use the palette knife. So I'm going to keep using this blue here. I'm going to put that in there. And then I also think I'm going to use, I'm looking at this, I want to do a deeper blue. So we'll try like a darker blue. Got phthalocyanine. I also have, I have this dark cobalt. I wonder how the dark cobalt might look. That actually, it's like a deep purple. It's cobalt violet. That might actually look kind of cool. So I'm going to try that first, see how it looks, see if I like it. So for palette knife work, I am just going to dip this on here and I'm going to drag it across. Let me get more on here. I don't have very much. I'm dipping it in both the purple and the blue, and then I'm just going to kind of drag this across here, and I want to get kind of a scrapey pattern first where the two are kind of blending together, and then I think I'll go back and see if I can't get a really cool texture out of this. So I'm just dragging this across, putting some thick paint on. The cool thing with the palette knife is you can get some real interesting textures. There's a little less control than if you're, painting with a brush. So you kind of have to let go of that a little bit, which for some people that freaks them out because you want to have control of everything. I have trouble sometimes with a palette knife, but I'm learning to loosen up. So learning to loosen up. And part of this too, I just kind of play with it and see what I can do with it. So for right now, I'm just kind of layering this color down. And then I'm going to go back in, I think, and add some more texture with the palette knife just to get some variation in the texture. I want to make the water look choppy. So that's what I'm going to go for here. But first I'm just going to get these colors kind of down here. All right, so far I think that looks pretty cool. I'm going to wipe this off. I'm going to try using either, you can use the edge of your palette knife or, sometimes if you don't have a palette knife, you could just use like a plastic knife or something. And I'm going to put some paint on the edge and see if I can't kind of create some textures in here by just dragging this across and creating some water like waves and stuff or ripples in the water. So I'm not really pushing too hard. I'm just kind of getting the thick paint on there, and I'm going in a horizontal motion here just to get this to look kind of cool. So I don't know about you, but all the stress I was feeling earlier when I started this, and I was rushing around like a crazy person trying to get here on time and get everything started, it's kind of melted away. That's what painting does for me. This is one of those things, it just completely relaxes me, and I can just focus with the paint on the canvas, drag it around, and enjoy this process. I just think that looks really cool. I don't know if you like it or not, but I love it. All right, I'm going to try some of this deep purple again and just see if I can get some more like darker tones in this where it's a little bit thicker. Because I blended it before when I was using it. So I blended the blue and the purple, so we got some lighter areas. And now I'm going to go in with this, just the purple here. I'm taking the edge of this palette knife and just dragging some purple to create some dark spots. And this is looking so cool, and I really love it. I almost want to go back up to the sky and like do that with palette knife too. But I like the difference here in the contrast between the smooth sky and then like the choppy water. So that's something to think about when you're painting. Contrast. Not only can colors contrast, but you can have contrasting textures and things like that too. So these would be some contrasting textures. So my goal is to make more time for creating art and doing creative things, because that's what I enjoy the most, and I put it on the back burner all the time. And is there anybody else like that? Like you love to do stuff, whether it be creating or something else, but you always put it on the side. You never really take the time to do it. And the whole time you're doing other things for other people, you're wishing that you were doing the one thing that you really want to do or you really want to spend time on. So my goal for this year is to make more time for creativity. It's not New Year's resolution. I guess this is my summer resolution to figure out a way to make more time to create. I want to paint more because this is my happy place. All right. I really love that. I wish I could show you the picture too so you can kind of compare, but it looks really cool. It looks choppy like the water in the photo that I'm looking at. So I really love how that looks. I think it looks super cool. Okay, so I'm gonna dry this again. So now I could just paint this on here. It's very simple shapes. We've got the triangular sails. If you're more comfortable though when you're doing this to trace it on there so that you get the shapes right. You know, you can reach out to me at the Painted Toad and I will get you the tracer. So if you want the tracer, if you put it in the comments for this video, if you just put boat in the comments, I will send you the link so you can sign up to get these little tracers for the ones that have tracers. Not all of them that I do have tracers. So I'm going to take my pencil and just go around the shape of this boat. It's sticking a little bit in the water, so hopefully it doesn't mess up my water, but it won't really matter because it's going to get painted anyways. We're doing a silhouette here. The water's a little thick, so I'm just going to paint that part of the boat on there. I'm not too worried about that part. But if you are doing this, make sure that see how it pulled off a little bit of my paint. Make sure that your painting is dry before you trace the boat on there. Okay, I'm going to use some black. Beautiful day on the water. I have a small flat brush here, so I'm just going to use that to my advantage to get the edges of these. How far down did that go? Oop, about right there. Okay. Now, alternately, you could have traced this boat on first, but it's really hard to paint a background around something like this. So for me, it's easier to do it this way so that, you know, when we peek through the sails here, we're going to see the sky, a continuation of the sky. So it just looks cooler when you do it that way. Sometimes if you try to paint around something, the edges just don't look as smooth and it looks kind of choppy when you put it together. I'm just going to take my brush and carefully drag this along here to get that smooth edge. And this is just black paint that I'm using for our silhouette. And I'm going to take that. I got a little bit too much there. Just pull it in. There's a little bump there, no problem. I just go in and add, make my sail a little wider. That's all you got to do. Now for the other sail. This is one of those where I really like the way that this looks. This might be one that I do on a larger canvas because I love the choppy look of the water down there. I just think it looks so cool. If you're joining me, it's Rose from the Painted Toad. I'm doing the sailboat at sunset. So right now I'm working at painting the little sailboat in, our sailboat silhouette. I'm just using black paint and a flat brush. And we had lots of fun doing the water with the palette knife. Boy, I'm scrambling for words tonight. Okay, now looking at the shape of my boat, you really don't see the mast coming up between these sails. So this one kind of comes over a tad more, and this one does come down a tad, so I'm going to kind of bring this line over just a little bit here. And then now for the boat. So the boat, the mast kind of comes down here. I'll bring that down. And then the boat itself, if you're tracing it, you can just paint in the shape. But I'm going to actually, look at this a little bit. I'm going to paint. Use the black going across here. I'm going to keep the paint thick on here so that I can get nice smooth lines as I'm painting. Yeah, some of this water's still not quite dry, so if that wants to pull into your boat, you can wait until it's dry, or the black paint is really going to cover all that up, so I don't worry too much about it. I just put enough black on there to cover it up. So I like how that looks. I think that's good. And I'm just going to add a few details. So maybe just, there's like in the painting, there's a couple little things here. Like there might be people on your deck of your boat, so you could just put some little dots or just little lines here. Make it look like there's some people enjoying the sunset view on our boat. If you're joining me, it's Rose from the Painted Toad. Go ahead and say hi, let me know you're here. And we are painting Sailboat at Sunset. I'm almost done actually. Use palette knife down here in the water. I'm doing the silhouette of the boat, the sailboat. Anybody know how to do sailing and stuff like that? Like I've been on a boat. I don't think I've ever been on a sailboat though. I mean, I should. I live in an area where we have we've got the Great Lakes in Michigan, and then we have Lake St. Clair. There's tons of boats on Lake St. Clair. But we are kind of out in the middle of the fields, so we're kind of out in the country area. But if you just head a little bit south of here, you hit the water and there's tons of boat people, boat culture. They all go, it's kind of funny, we were talking about this the other night. People with boats all summer long, they go around in their swim trunks and bathing suit, like bikini tops. You can tell the boaters because they're always like half in their bathing suit, no matter where they're at. It's just kind of funny. And I'm looking at my picture. I think there's like a line here. I'm just afraid if I draw it, I don't want it to be like super thick. So let me try to get this really thin. And then I'm just going to create a small... I'm barely touching the canvas here because I wanted that small line. I don't even know if you can see it on there. So we've got that. But I think that looks really good. So let me, I want to make my window a little bit bigger here so I can see it myself. I mean, I'm looking at the painting, but it's nice to see it on my video screen so I can see what it looks like here. And I think it's looking pretty good. Let's move this thing out of the way. Ah, I like it. So that's it. That's done. This was a quick, easy one. Let me talk about a couple things though. I'm going to put this in the background here so you can still see my painting. I'll scooch it up just a tad. If I can, it's stuck to the bottom. Hold on. Okay, there we go. It's just crazy tonight. Everything's being a little fussy. Okay, so there is Sailboat at Sunset. Super fun, super easy. I love this one. This one would be really fun to do on a larger canvas, and I might do it. Maybe I will. Remember, I want you to be creative, be artistic, and make sure you get connected at the Painted Toad. Follow us on YouTube, on Facebook. Get connected with us. I want to get you painting. I want to get you creating. And I just dip my hand in paint. I want you to look like this. All right. Have a great night, everybody. See you later. You can sign up for the Paint With Me newsletter for more updates on paintings like this.